The chair recognizes the gentlelady from Tennessee, Ms. Blackburn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Last week, the EPA positioned itself to regulate carbon dioxide emissions under the Clean Air Act without congressional consent. We are then faced with a choice. We can acquiesce to bad regulation that will have certain and disastrous impacts on our economy, or we can legislate an even more harmful system. It is as though when faced with a gun to our head, Congress is going to take it and shoot ourselves in the chest. For the record, I would remind the committee of my bill, H.R. 391, which will prohibit the EPA from taking action under the Clean Air Act and allow Congress the time we need to craft intelligent legislation. My bill would also save farms who, under the EPA's proposed regulations, would face steep levies on livestock. Laying aside my skepticism of the underlying science that led us to this bill, I'd like to address some of my concerns on the legislation itself. There are at least two provisions that we know will be detrimental to the economy at a very bad time. First are the renewable electricity standards imposed by the bill. Currently, 3% of our electricity is generated by renewable energy. The chairman's bill calls for 25% by 2025 to meet these standards. Under current electricity usage levels would require 20,000 megawatts of renewable energy to come online each year until 2025. That is 20,000 megawatts a year. I would remind my colleagues that only 10,000 megawatts worth of renewable electricity came online last year. The Energy Information Administration estimates that only 8,000 additional megawatts will come online over the next 4 years, and that is in total. This makes the renewable energy requirements in this bill unrealistic, and that is under current usage rates. This bill aims to increase electricity usage without accommodating the increased usage in the standard for renewable generation. They also happen to be exceedingly expensive. We are saddling our states and our energy consumers with unrealistic demands at prohibitively high prices. Secondly, while there are large blanks in the chairman's bill, when it comes to the mechanics of a cap-and-trade proposal, few in this room doubt that we are actually talking about a cap-and-tax system. Electricity rates are going to rise, and Washington is going to pocket the profits. I take no comfort from any assurance I hear from my colleagues across the aisle or down the street that energy consumers will be compensated in some way. We must be plain and we must be honest when we discuss this system. It will pull thousands more out of the family budget each and every year. There is simply no way around it, and we are wrong to try and sugarcoat it. Mr. Chairman, I wonder if the committee will give as yet unforeseen compounding effects of this bill due consideration. We know that the renewable energy standard will increase electricity costs. There are ample case studies to prove it. We also know that the cap-and-trade system will drive up electricity costs. The President himself has told us the prices will, and I'm quoting him, necessarily skyrocket, end quote, for consumers. What we don't know, what we must know before this bill becomes law, is what the compounding effect of an expensive renewable energy standard and an expensive cap-and-trade system will be to the family budget. As my colleagues and I work on this legislation, that is what I'm going to be paying the closest attention to. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
We thank the gentlelady.